Thank you for joining me. I'm Tracy and this is a DIY upcycling channel. And today we are going to make this easy fringe boho belt or festival belt, pixie, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to pair it with this white skirt here. Now this is a great alternative if you love the boho hippie look, but you don't want to commit to cutting up a skirt and doing all of that. Look at how much this adds to the skirt. You really don't have to do anything else to that skirt. Maybe you sell. These are fun and easy to make, and it's always nice to have accessories to go with your boho clothes. You know, a lower price range than maybe a really expensive pair of jeans you're selling or something. These are a lot of fun and just gorgeous. Let's get to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a measuring tape and just measure around the area where I will want my belt to be. And I get 30 inches right there. I'm going to subtract 1 inch and that gives me 29. Now I just need a base in which to sew everything to. And I am using an ecru colored table runner and cut a piece off. It's 29 inches long and 5 inches tall. It's kind of a medium weight. I want this to be a little more sturdy than a lot of the other pieces. Now this is going to be a tie belt and I'm going to add the ties now. I am going to do 3 long ones on each side so it's extra fringy. I will be sewing the strands up on the top corners like this one. And what I'm using, this one is 28 inches long and it's just a side seam from a linen tablecloth. And this is 3 pieces of yarn that looked like this. And I cut them 38 inches long and made a braid. And this is just a piece of an olive green t-shirt. It is 25 inches long. Now remember, if you use a t-shirt, cut it a little wider because it stretches and shrinks up on itself. And these don't fray, so they're wonderful. Now I'm going to cluster these 3 together like this and go to the upper corner, take it to my machine, and I am just going to do a few rows of zigzag stitch right over top of that to make it durable because we will be tying it and it will look like that. Okay, there it is tied on. Next step is to add fringes to the bottom of it all the way around. I'll show you how I lay them out and I'll show you what I use. Now I'm keeping mine pretty long for right now and I may trim them when I'm all done. Most likely I will. I have a yardstick down here sort of for reference, but I am just using strips of lace. I have ecru, white, and I have more yarn braids. I also cut this yarn 3 pieces, each braid 38 inches long and braided it. A little t-shirt scrap and just, you know, a bunch of lace pieces basically in braids. And one more thing I'm going to add are a few suede fringe strips, and I'm going to show you quickly what these are from. Now this is just suede from a thrifted suede jacket. When I get them home, I wash them in my washer in cold water and I dry them in my dryer. I don't let them air dry because they get stiff. Now if you want to wear your jacket or sell it, do not wash it in your washer. That's only if you're going to use it for crafts like this. And I am just using my cutting mat and my roller cutter and it goes right through it like butter. I'll probably cut about 10 of these strips. Now I'm just going to sew them along the bottom. You know, I probably won't follow every scallop. That's not necessary, maybe right above the scallops. So right now I'm just going to lay them out. No magic formula. I just don't want a bunch of white next to each other or too much ecru next to each other. I just want to disperse them sort of evenly. And I don't want it solid. I want to group them and have a few gaps in between the groups so it's not one solid line of fringe. Now I'm going to my braids. Whoops. And I'm going to lay them out. And I'm not going to lay them one strand at a time. I'm going to sort of double them up where one end is a little longer than the other. Kind of messed that up a little bit. And lay them where I want them. Now the last thing I'm going to do is lay out my little suede fringes. Now, you can do this part however you want, but what I find easiest, I'm not going to pin all these on to the bottom of my belt. I am just going to take the little groups and just lay them out on a big cutting mat and take it to my machine like that and just sew them on and eyeball it. I could always cut more if I run short. But I find this to be sort of the fastest, easiest way. Now, I'll take this to my machine, go forward, backwards at one end, and just start laying these in one piece at a time with my largest zigzag stitch. That's what it's looking like with the fringe. I took the skirt off because it was hard to see the white ones. I wanted you to get a good look. Okay, on to the next. Now I want to decorate this part. And I cut out just some lace remnants. I have lots of lace remnants. I buy them lace in lots from eBay. And I'm just going to lay it out, let's see, to my liking. There are no rules. You do it exactly how you want, any color you want, any theme you want, a little lace, no lace. Now for these, I am going to pin these on, so I'm just going to slip an old cutting mat underneath the belt so that I can pin that without touching my tablecloth. And I'll pin these down pretty good, and then I'll show you how I sew it because it's going to be so easy. Now that I have everything all pinned, I'll take it to my machine, and with my largest zigzag stitch, I'm going to run a row of stitching along the top. Now I'll have to kind of keep peeking under, making sure I'm catching that original rectangle that we started with. And the same with the bottom. I'll run a stitch along the bottom, peeking to make sure I'm catching the bottom of that rectangle. And then I'll run one right down the center. That should catch everything. If when I get it off, something needs a little extra stitching, I'll just run it back through the machine. Okay, that's what it's looking like. So cute, right? Now, I want to add some pretties to it. Okay, I want to add 3 clusters of crochet flowers, and I have one little brooch. But before I sew these on, I want to add, I have some green suede fringe from another thrifted jacket, and I want to add a little bit of that first. So I am going to take just something to mark with. I have some tailor's chalk, and I'm going to mark where I want my cluster of flowers. One will be right there, one will be about in the center, and then one will be about right here. So now that I have that marked, I'm going to take my suede fringe and I'm going to take 2 of them and sew them right over top of the marks I made, because I want these underneath the cluster of flowers. So I want to sew those on before the flowers. I have enough, I could add 3. I don't know, maybe I'll add an extra one there. And this is just some binding tape that I have a little basket of fringy type materials, and this is kind of a pink. I think I'm going to add that right there. Maybe another one here. Okay, now I'm just going to take these off, take it to my machine, and since I have it marked, I don't have to pin this because I know right where these are going to go. So I'll go get these sewn on with a zigzag stitch as well. Now these are just little crocheted flowers from doilies. They're a great source for fabric flowers. And I do have one little brooch that I'm going to have to hand sew. But now I'm just going to sort of lay them out how I think I want them. Now these I am pinning on, and I'm just sticking one straight pin just kind of in the center of each. Now I'm going to go get these sewn on. I'm going to take my butterfly off for a second, and I'm going to use a straight stitch, and I'm switching to gold colored thread because that hides with most colors. And I will not go to the complete edge of the flower because I still want it to have a little dimension. So I'll just come in about here and sew sort of a circle around each one. Okay, I have that all sewn on, and I pinned my butterfly. It's pretty secure, and then I can switch that out if I want to. Okay, so I'm taking more of those crochet flowers, and I'm going to sew a row, 3 rows. I have 2 in front and I have 1 in back, and all I'm doing is sticking a straight pin through so that I can sew them on. That's what this one looks like. Here's what this one looks like. And then I did one in the back right here. And now what I need to do is sew them on, and it's going to be so easy. I'm going to use a straight stitch, and I'm going to just start up here at the top of the fringe. I waited to do this. I didn't want to add the fringe with the flowers because I want to be strategic where I put them. Like if you put it right down the center, I don't know, I just don't think that would look as good. So I'm going to run a straight stitch down one side, catching all those flowers, and then I'm going to come back and run a stitch down the opposite side, and I'll do that on these strands as well. Okay, all done. That was pretty easy. It took longer to pick out the materials than it did to make it. The possibilities are infinite. It doesn't have to be lace. It could be colors and fabrics you want, any theme you want. This would be cute with a dress, some jeans. Could you imagine at a festival with some shorts, and this is just kind of your skirt? Now, I'm trying to think of other ways you can use this, and I would love to hear from you. I'm thinking when you're not wearing it, you could hang it on a pretty rod above your window, swag it and tie it up, or maybe in front of a sheer curtain. That would be pretty. Please let me know, what else can we use this for? I am going to bring it in a little closer, let you see more of the details. I thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful week.